everyone, and welcome to GRUFFtalk, where each week we take a deep dive into all the ways we can feel better, look better, live better, and age better. I'm your host, Barbara Hannah Grufferman. Oh, this is such a fun girly girl episode. I just spent time chatting with the absolutely wonderful Carmindy, a New York-based makeup artist, beauty and lifestyle expert, TV personality, and author of 4 books with over 30 years of experience of making people feel good about themselves. For over 10 years, you may remember, millions of viewers counted on Carmindy to teach them her insider makeup tricks and tips on TLC's hit show, What Not to Wear. Recently, I had on her co-host, Stacey London, as a guest. You may want to go back and listen to that one. We talked about menopause. But what really inspired Carmindy's viewers was her confidence-boosting attitude towards everyone. My daughters and I never missed a single episode. What really made Carmindy stand out, though, when she skyrocketed to fame on the show, was that she taught people how to see their own unique beauty and stop any negative commentary going on in their heads. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, I'm not pretty anymore. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm too this. I'm too that. Awful stuff that we do to ourselves day in and day out. On that show and in her books, Carmindy has shown that all people of all ages, skin tones, with all different types of features, have the right to love themselves. I had the great luck of landing an interview with Carmindy for my first book, The Best of Everything After 50, well over 10 years ago. And everything she taught me since that time, I still do, including her very famous 5-minute face approach to applying makeup. Oh, there's lots to talk about. We had so much fun. So grab a cup of green tea or a glass of Pinot Noir, kick off your shoes, put up your feet. And right after this short break, we'll get the show started. Stay tuned. Hello, Carmindy, and welcome to GRUFFtalk.
How are you, Barbara? It's so good to see you and hear you.
It's so good to say. We do see each other, but this is audio only by the time you get it. But it's really a pleasure to see you. We saw each other recently at a menopause event, which was really fun during Menopause Week and Menopause Month. And that's all really, really great. And we will be talking a little bit about menopause. But, you know, Carmindy, you and I have known each other for a very long time, actually.
Yes, indeed.
I interviewed you for my very first book, The Best of Everything After 50.
Yep.
And you were like the go-to pro for my chapter on makeup and like looking fabulous at any age. So we do go way back. And I think I've been to with my daughters, every single one of your book events. At like Barnes and Noble and stuff over the years.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Always
I have photos to prove it.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a lot to talk about, and we're going to get to it. But first, I like to ask my guests a few little kind of warm-up questions. And one of them is, so where are you tuning in from? Where are you joining us from?
I am in Manhattan, New York. I'm in Chelsea on this beautiful day. We have a beautiful fall day outside, so we're lucky.
Yeah, we are so lucky. I'm running the New York City Marathon on Sunday. I know the audience has heard this a billion times. Sorry, everyone. I'm sure you're very bored hearing about it. And very unfortunately, well, fortunately for the spectators, it's going to be a gorgeous day. But very unfortunately for the runners, it's going to be a too hot day, like mid-70s. Oh. That is way too hot. Not a fall day at all. So, okay, Carmindy, what did you have for breakfast today?
Well, I didn't eat breakfast. I had lunch. So I've been doing intermittent fasting.
Got it.
I actually ate lunch today and I recently broke my arm. So I hadn't been to the gym for a week. So I knew I was going to go to the gym. And so I had a turkey burger with no bun.
Okay.
Lunch.
So of course, thank you for... That's great. You know what, you're getting your protein in. I had a guest on that long ago talking about, actually was the co-authors talking about their book, which was a bestseller and still is, The Whole Body Reset, and talking about protein timing and how important that is as you get older. But that's a whole nother story. Thank you for that segue into my next question. Carmindy, you have a cast on your arm?
I do.
What happened? Tell us. Go ahead.
It's so crazy, Barbara. It's one of those freak accidents. I was watching my boyfriend's soccer game. He's not a professional, but he plays in a men's league. And I was sitting by the goal watching intensely because I used to play soccer back in the day, so I enjoy it. And somebody went to score a goal and the ball missed the goal and headed straight at my face. And thank God I was paying attention. So I put my arm and my palm straight out in front of me. The ball hit it, snapped my radius.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That is a freaky incident.
I know. It was awful.
Everybody must have been in shock.
I'd never in a million years thought just watching a game, being a spectator, I was in danger.
That's really okay. Now you know what my next question is going to be. In fact, I did ask you in a text.
Yes, and I didn't answer.
Have you ever had a bone density test?
I have not. And you were right, because when you sent me that, I went, oh boy, it's about time. I'm 51, going to be 52 soon. It is time that I do that. So you're right. I have to do that.
So no one asked you to, no doctor or healthcare provider who took care of your arm, bandaged you up and sent you packing, said to you, Carmindy, are you in fact postmenopausal, if I can ask?
I'm right dead smack in it. I haven't had a period in about 2.5 years. I get hot flashes. I am in the thick of it right now.
Oh, you definitely are. Well, if you haven't had a period, according to all of the experts out there, if you haven't had a period for a full year, you are actually postmenopausal, and you can continue to have those awful hot flashes for a number of years. So you're most likely postmenopausal. And you know what happens, right? Estrogen levels go down and wreaks havoc, including with your bones. So I implore you, go find out what your number is. It's a shame that no one said to you, Carmindy, go and get a bone density test. That's a shame.
This is why I went to the Menopause Summit. This is why I was so happy to see you and hear about this podcast, and so happy to be with Stacey London as she brought together the CEOs of the biggest menopause companies, because we have no information. Nobody's talking to us. I have no idea what to do. I don't have anybody to turn to. And I've been to endocrinologists and I've been to other doctors, and it's vagueness, no real answers. It's just something that the medical community doesn't talk about. And it's a stage of life we all go through. And it's something that needs to be talked about and no shame put on it. It's like women are afraid to talk about it because it makes this I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. And I think it needs to be normalized.
It does need to be normalized. And Stacey London, who was your co-host on the wonderful What Not to Wear show, which we never missed an episode of, as I've always told you. And I told Stacey London too when I met her. She was amazing to put together that group of CEOs. I mean, really the top CEOs and or founders of the top companies currently in the menopause space. And really was quite a feat. And it was a great event. And I was so happy to see you there. But no, you're right. Everything you're saying, women are feeling a little ashamed about it. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that menopause kind of is in that same bucket as aging. And nobody really likes to confront or talk about aging, and which is really a shame, because, that's what I'm all about, is embracing your age. And so are you.
Well, I've always been that way, because I look at it this way. It's this simple. What's the alternative?
Exactly right.
Dying? I mean, we're lucky if we get into middle age. We're lucky if we get past middle age. We're lucky to live a long life. We should be celebrating that fact, because so many people don't get that opportunity. So why is it shameful? Why? It doesn't make any sense. And especially somebody who's a beauty expert, probably, honestly, the most beautiful women I've ever met in my life were mature women. Because the confidence that they had, that to me is more beautiful than simple features.
Absolutely. And you've been, really talking about that ever since I discovered you on the show and then met you in person, interviewed you for my book, and, just seen you over the years. You've always been that person who just saying, everyone, just embrace yourself, embrace everything about yourself, including your age. Now, of course, we have to make adjustments, right? I mean, that's really super important. And I did want to talk about your books for a minute, because I love them so much. You've written a few incredibly helpful, positive, and uplifting books, because that's, again, who you are. Are there any other books that you're thinking about writing? I mean, I'm kind of hoping that you'll write one specifically for people over 50 postmenopausal because things do change, including our skin. And
yes.
we really, which we'll be getting into, we really should start to tweak our makeup. I know I did over the years. I'm 65 now, and I've tweaked since I was 40, 45. Although I have to tell you, I haven't tweaked that much since you taught me everything that I needed to know back when I interviewed you for the book. It's amazing. I still do. It does take me maybe a little more than 5 minutes.
Sure.
But what are you thinking about for a book?
Well, that's the thing. I've thought about books, but right now my biggest focus has been creating a makeup line that I'm about to launch on 11/11 at 11:11 a.m. Talk about great spirit numbers. So my focus has been on that. But yes, I would absolutely love to write a book about aging and beauty, because here's the thing that I find fascinating. Being in the beauty industry for over 30 years, and especially creating a makeup line, I am reading all of the Business of Fashion, WWD, like all of the cosmetic industry newsletters. And every company out there is focusing on 15 to 35. 15 to 35, like as if at 35, you're dead. You like nothing happens. Like nobody's interested in you. I can't believe that they are spending all this time and all this money and all this marketing only up to 35. It makes absolutely no sense to me, because there's so many of us that don't want, the TikTok look, the 14 layers of baking and contour and 16 eyeshadows. It's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
And I've always been the natural look alternative makeup artist. I've always talked about elevating and celebrating your natural beauty, no matter your skin tone, your skin type, your skin features, your age. It's about the less is more approach, the watercolor approach to beauty. So
Correct.
Yes, I think it's about time that, but not just a book on makeup. It's got to be about how we feel. It's about how we think. I mean, our thoughts turn to reality. And I think that so many of us, when we think we're old, we believe we're old, we say we're old.
Or we're not pretty anymore. That's a really big one. Like, I'm not pretty anymore. I'm too old to be pretty or beautiful.
Right. Or I'm invisible. Like all that stuff actually will create your environment. But if you change your thoughts, I'm vibrant, I'm healthy, I'm active, I'm learning, I'm exploring, I'm celebrating, you'll see that your environment will change. You'll be happier. You'll be younger, fresher, more energetic. It does make a difference the way you think about your state in this world right now. It has everything to do with it before you put on even one swipe of makeup.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You've always been so uplifting, and I have all of your books. I've kept all of your books. I go back to them. I go back to my own book to reread some of the advice that you gave me back over 10 years ago. That still works for me now. But we do have some questions that came in from listeners. I put it out on social media, and quite a few women emailed in some questions for you. So let's get to a few of those, and then we'll kind of continue the conversation. So just about the whole, how we evolve and how we have to kind of be very positive about how we do evolve in life and get older. So this is about, have you personally changed anything about your own self-care, like exercise and eating and sleeping and so on, as you've gotten older?
Oh my gosh, all percent.
Yeah.
Not 100%, all percent. Yes. As I got older, I was noticing lots of changes in my body. And so I love doing deep dives and learning. And one of the things I did from an exercise perspective is I realized that weight training is probably the most important thing you can do as you get older. I was doing a lot of, Pilates and bar, and all that's really, really good, and a lot of cardio. that's all really good for you, but it's weight training that keeps the muscles strong around the bones that actually help you later in life. So I incorporated 3 days of weight training into my exercise routine. I stopped running because I have herniated discs in my neck and some arthritis in it. So I started walking instead. So I walk 5 miles almost every day instead of the jarring of running. I know you're a runner, and I think because you've
but
been
it's hurting
running.
my knee. I do have mild arthritis in my knee, and I do have like a disc issue in my lower back. So it's
Yeah.
probably not the best thing, but so far so good. I've still have gotten the
Do
green
it
light
until you
from the
can't.
doctor.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think that you just keep do it until you know your body talks to you. You
correct.
just have to be intuitive enough to listen to your body. I knew when my body said, "Nope, you can't do this anymore. Nope, you can't do that anymore." So what you do is you don't stop, you just adjust.
You
That's
just
it.
adjust, right? I call it tweaking. You just
Yeah.
tweak as you go on in life, right? And I just want to stop right there about the strength training. I'm so happy to hear that because one, you did just break your arm. I'm so sad about that. I'm so sorry, and I really do want to hear about your bone density test. So when you find
Yeah.
out, will you please let me know? I'm very
Oh yeah.
curious how that is and what
Yeah,
the
me too.
professionals will tell you to do and advise you to do going forward. But strength training, as it turns out, not only does what you just said, builds the muscles, keeps your bones dense, but
Mhm.
it also has an impact on brain health, which is
Yes.
amazing. It
Yes.
actually helps with brain health in combination with cardio, of course, which you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But in addition, a recent study came out that those who engage 2 or 3 times a week in
Mhm.
strength training, and like really aggressive strength training, actually live longer. So it's really
Yes.
like it impacts mortality.
I agree. I
Hmm.
absolutely agree. I think it makes you feel good too. You feel like you've really accomplished something and you're in there with the dudes, and you're like, I got this. And it makes you feel powerful. It boosts self-confidence. I think that's another big thing.
Uh-huh.
So let's see. There's two other really main things that I started doing. The other thing is I started doing intermittent fasting. I realized that, and I did a lot of research, that as we get older, our metabolism slows and we actually need less calories.
Yeah, this
We
is
need the
true.
right calories. And so I eliminated all seed oils from my diet. I eat whole foods. I'm mainly keto because that works for me. It might not work for everyone. Some people are better at vegan. Some people are better at, the equal balance of everything. For me, it worked. And I dropped 30 pounds after the lockdown because I'd gone up quite a bit. And by going keto, and I eat twice a day, I've never been a snacker. And so I have really solid, beautiful, gorgeous meals twice a day with intermittent fasting. So that's another thing that I've done. And the third thing is sleep.
Yeah,
Sleep with
super
menopause has
important.
been really, really difficult for me. That was probably between the hot flashes, the sleeping issues were out of control. And, a lot of people might agree with me and a lot of people might disagree with me, but if you need help, get it. Like I did the melatonin, I did the meditation, I did the no phone, and I don't have a television. I did all the things and I was still losing sleep. And so if I had to have a little, medication to help me sleep, I'd rather have that 8 hours and get it in every day because that is a better alternative for my longevity, my health, and my mental state. So just talk to your doctor and see what's right for you.
That's so funny you said that because just today in the New York Times, there was a little article in the health section about that exact topic. It's like, what if you need help?
Mm-hmm.
And we're all different. Some
Mm-hmm.
people do respond well to melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really. It made me feel very groggy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
some people really could be on like an Ambien,
Yeah.
very low dose,
Yeah.
especially as you get older, it should be a lower dose. And
Yes,
it works
exactly.
well. And, just went through the whole like rundown of options. But again, we're all so unique that,
Yes,
as you have been saying, like what works for you may not work for the next person. But yeah,
exactly.
sleep is clearly the third pillar of good health. There's no question about it.
I felt very shameful about having to have help through some sort of a sleeping medication. So I didn't do it forever. And it caused me a lot of problems. I mean, I was
Hmm.
brain fog and exhaustion, and then, I wasn't motivated. And since doing it, and it's just a little each night, I feel great.
Yeah.
And I'd
Yeah.
rather feel great and be able to do all the things that are super duper healthy for me. And, and maybe there'll be a point where I'll try to wean off it after the menopause isn't so severe.
Right.
But that's what works for me.
Yep. No, I think it's so important. And I'm really happy to hear that you've made that a priority. Not enough people do.
Yeah.
And they suffer. Their health does suffer. Their cognitive functioning does suffer as a result. So yeah, that's good. I mean, hey, it sounds to me like you're doing everything right and you tweaked exactly where you should have tweaked. I love the strength training and, the sleep priority, all really, really good. And basically that's what I've been doing too. And isn't it amazing that these are not complicated things at all? These are not hard. They're not complicated. I think having a relationship with a good healthcare provider is kind of essential too in this.
Yes. Also having a good relationship, if you can, with a holistic healthcare provider.
Yeah.
Because you'd want to do the combo of both. You don't want to just rely on the medical industry because, they're just in one box. I think that the key is to really explore all options.
Correct.
And see how you can create your own cocktail of spirituality mixed with, wellness, mixed with, whatever it is that you need to see what's right for you. It takes a little bit of exploration, but that's the great part of it.
And being open-minded. And intermittent fasting, by the way, I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting as well. And I had the really great fortune to interview Dr. Walter Longo, who really kind of kickstarted the whole intermittent fasting, I don't want to say craze, because that sounds very faddish, here in the States a few years back with his research on longevity. That's his focus, less about weight loss or anything like that, but more about how does it impact your body in a positive way, in a very deep cellular level. And his research is really quite amazing. He was someone I interviewed for my last book. And I do intermittent fasting, but differently than you. It sounds like you do the window, right? Like you don't eat until, I do it periodically.
Oh, I mean, again, it's up to each individual of what works. I mean, I have a couple friends that do like 3-day fasts. I'm like, I don't know how you do that. I would be so angry and pissed off.
Hangry.
I couldn't do that. I'm like, good for you. You do that like a couple times a year, 3 days. No, thank you.
So do you eat meat or are you vegetarian?
Yes.
You do?
No.
Okay.
I'm keto. So yeah, I eat a lot.
Right. Yeah.
So it's raw cheese. It's 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef, lots of seafood. Yeah, that's my jam.
Yeah.
The reason why it works so well is I was always a cheese fanatic. And the fact is, like, so many people for so long were like, you can't have cheese. Cheese is bad for you. And, luckily I'm not lactose intolerant. But once I could have cheese, I'm like, I can stick with this one. This is a lifestyle I like.
I know I'm more of a savory girl too. Like, I don't think I'd ever want to live without cheese and crackers and that sort of thing. I could go without the cake.
Yeah.
But I like the savory stuff, right? So getting back to another question that came in was, what about your skincare actually, and your makeup routines? I mean, that's your real focus career-wise. And what's different now for you?
Makeup-wise, I've always created, and been involved in product development. And what's amazing is I haven't had to change the Carmindy beauty philosophy and the Carmindy beauty formulas because from day one, I was creating them for all skin tones, skin types, and ages.
Right.
So that's the beauty of the formulations of my product line is that didn't have to change. And it's now woven into the American fabric of like what beauty is because of the show, What Not to Wear. The problem was that for the last, say, 10 years, because of TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, there was this explosion of over-the-top makeup with the young kids that was just, it got Sephora and Ulta and department stores buying into these brands that were heavily pigmented, heavily glittered, and it just didn't work for women of a certain age.
Right.
Whereas my 5-minute face technique, which, by the way, was created based on a scientific study that I read about, that if you look through history, right, beauty standards change through history. And if you go back all the way to like ancient Egyptians and Mesopotamia, and beauty trends and adornments change. But the one thing science has found, going back all the way to the caveman days, is a woman is at her most beautiful when she's at her most fertile. Well, that ship has sailed for most of us, but what does that mean? Well, 5 things happen. Her skin glows because she's radiant. So I created my highlighter. So that's step
Which
1 of
was
5 days,
brilliant.
right? And you place it
Brilliant. And I
in
mean that
3
actually, it really was brilliant, but it was
Thank you.
brilliant.
It does. It restores the radiance in your skin no matter what your age. And then your eyes capture attention because you're trying to, get your suitor. So that's a thick lash line. So that's liner. And then flirty lashes. So that's mascara. Then your cheeks flush on a cellular level because you're blushing, like really cellularly blushing. So that's your blush. And then your lips get engorged with blood because you want to make out. So if you use these 5 things, and I created universal shades that work on everyone, step by step, it doesn't matter if you're 18 or 80, you're brought back to your natural radiant state. And that never had to change for me as I got older. It stayed the same. And even the foundations I created to mimic the skin's texture, that's coming out again too, the same way. Now, skincare, that's where things started to have to shift. Skincare was where we all see it the most. And what I found was retinol products are very, very important over the age of 40 because it starts to slough off the dead skin cells. It rejuvenates collagen production. You have to stay away from toners that dry out your skin because we tend to get drier and drier as we get older.
And go through menopause, as we were talking about before. Estrogen levels drop, skin gets dry, eyes get dry, vaginas get dry. Everything gets dry.
All of it. All of it. The crepiness is real, people. I mean, it really is.
It is.
I'm a side sleeper. The lines are no joke. There's a few products that I really love that I swear by. You can see it on my Instagram at Carmindy Beauty or TikTok, Carmindy_beauty, where I talk about the brands I love the most in terms of skincare. But I'm also best friends with my dermatologist, and I sit on her board of her skincare line, Rose MD Skin. And she does Fraxel lasers on me because I've got light skin. I have a lot of sun damage. So I do 1 Fraxel laser a year to get rid of melasma and pigmentation issues, but it also kind of keeps the skin, the texture on point. I want
to just stop you right there because I'm really intrigued by that. I've never done that. I too am, blonde like you are, and I'm fair skinned, and I did my fair share of sun damage. I even used the reflector with baby oil and iodine mixed together.
Yes, that was
what?
The thing. That was a 70s thing. I remember that.
Yes, it was a 70s. Like, what were we thinking?
Copper tone with the sunburned baby, right?
Bain de Soleil. Great smell, though. I mean, you smell that and you go, wow, you go back to the 70s.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I should do that. Is it painful?
It's not painful. You just look like human beef carpaccio for about 3 days. It's true. It's like you're just red and oozy, and then you crust. And then you peel off, and then your skin looks like a baby. I highly recommend it.
So you do have to kind of stay in for 3 days. I mean, like that's the kind of thing.
Give yourself 4.
4, yeah. I really should do that. I should do that. Yeah. I'm going to put this on my to-do list.
Yeah, it's either Fraxel or the CO2 laser. I just think that it's a win-win. If you don't want to do anything surgically, because I don't and I haven't, it's great. I love it. I love it once a year.
No, your skin you look gorgeous. Your skin looks beautiful from, what I can see when I saw you just a few weeks ago in person. It looks great. So what else do you do? Then use retinol every night?
No, not every night. What I do is when I feel like my skin's getting dull, I'll use it for like 2 nights in a row and then stop because you're going to flake. And so you just let that thing happen. What I have noticed in menopause, major hair loss. I always had thin hair anyway, but Jesus, I have
Isn't that a drag?
I mean, you guys can't see me on camera, but she can, but you can really see my scalp. And every episode of What Not to Wear, I had in hair extensions, but I don't use that in real life. I don't use hair extensions in real life. And so I've been taking a lot of, supplements to try to help that out. I use Latisse on my brows and my lashes to keep them looking a little bit more.
Does it work for you?
It works for me.
Yeah, I've never tried it, so I really should, though, because my brows are really sparse now. They really are. And so are my lashes.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. And so I've realized that. And then, I follow what my derm says in terms of, my cleanser and my moisturizer, but I do notice that in the winter, I have to really go heavier on my moisturizer.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I love a serum. I just still have not found an eye cream. There's a few eye creams that are good, but nothing that's like the magic. I get Botox in my forehead because I remember looking at my mom when I was about 38, and I looked at her and I said, well, that's going to be the one area that I think that is going to need some preventative. So the Botox in the forehead is kind of helped me in that arena. But I don't touch the lips because lips are a dead giveaway.
I know. I have seen that, and I just think it's not a good look. It just isn't. And
the other thing important is keep your teeth white.
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter if they're crooked. It doesn't matter if I think crooked teeth are adorable. They don't have to be perfect, but keep them white because that's the first thing that really kind of ages you is if you have yellow teeth.
Yeah.
So invest in a whitening either system or a whitening treatment because I've always said a white, bright smile keeps you just looking radiant and people are attracted to that.
Yeah, no, you're so right. And as we get older, they do get more dingy looking, they're a little more yellow, especially if you smoke. Hopefully no one is smoking or have something, red wine or for coffee, tea, any of that. And that's so super. I'm really, really, really good about that. And just taking care of your teeth in general, I think. Teeth. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Oh, no, that was a great to-do list. I mean, I know I've added a few things to my to-do list now, thanks to this little discussion. I'm going to get a little Fraxel. It's time. It's definitely time. I need to do something like that. So someone also sent in a question about powder. Specifically, should we still set our eye makeup with light dusting of powder? And I would expand on that question and just ask about setting your face makeup with powder too. Good idea, bad idea at this age?
This is actually a great question. So the short answer is yes, set your makeup with powder, but the extended answer is it depends on the powder you use. So if you're using powder foundation, throw it in the trash. No more powder foundation. Powder foundation over the age of, I'd say 35 is going to make you look dry, dusty, chalky. Get rid of it. You want to use a nice liquid cream or, smooth, more creamy foundation or liquid foundation because that's going to restore your radiance. But the powder to set the makeup, make sure it's not loose because if it's loose powder, not only is it a mess in your bathroom, but it can get way too much on your brush. You can put too much on your skin. So use a pressed powder. But what I created in the Carmindy Beauty line, which is coming out very, very soon, is it's like blotting paper in powder form. So it's a compact of powder that is absolutely invisible on the skin. So it sets your makeup. It erases the shine, but it does not leave any dusty trace whatsoever. It's invisible. So that is the kind of powder that you need to get.
Oh, that's so wonderful. When we wind down our conversation, you'll tell us a little bit more about how we'll be able to find your new line and all that. And everyone, of course, as usual, links to Carmindy and everything that she's doing on social media, as well as to, how we can find your new Carmindy Beauty line will be in the show notes. And on my website. So no problem with that. Great. Okay. You mentioned eyeliner earlier, and, because of you, that is something I started to do way back over 10 years ago. I find it defines my eyes. My eyes aren't super big or they need help. Let's put it that way. So the question that came in is, should we stop using eyeliner as we get older, especially on the lower lid?
Okay, so first of all, you should not stop using eyeliner as you get older because as we tend to mature, we tend to fade a little bit. And the most expressive part of you is your eyes, right? So, and our iris, which we ignore, is as unique as a fingerprint. So we really want to play up our iris. So what I would suggest, so when I created my Eye Define eyeliner, which is launching on 11/11, it is a very fine micro tip. So it's the type of liner you use. So the old school eyeliners that were like a pencil.
Yes.
They go on a little too heavy. So I created a micro tip because you just want to get as close to the roots of the lashes as possible and just smudge it into the root. That gives the illusion of a thicker looking lash line and it'll define your eyes without going over the top. And it's also water resistant. Under the eyes, what I suggest as we get older is not to use an eyeliner unless it's a look you're going for. If you're going for a smoky eye, knock yourself out, have fun. You can do the waterline. But for the most part, I like to do liner on top and a little powdered eyeshadow on the lower lash line, just about halfway across. That way it's a lot more subtle
Yeah.
and doesn't look as
Softer.
severe as we get older. Yes.
So will your line also have, it will have everything, I'm assuming, also eyeshadow?
Yes. So on 11/11, I am launching.
Wait a minute. What's the significance of 11/11?
Okay, so here's the crazy thing. I see 11/11 all the time. Like every time I look at the clock, every time I, look at what time it is, no matter where I am, I see 11/11/11/11/11. I didn't know what it meant. So I have some friends that are a little woo-woo spiritual, and I was like, what does 11/11 mean? And there's so many different things. It means that you're aligned with the universe. It means that your angels are looking out for you. It means that you're in tuned. It means you're on the right path. And I started getting into it going, that's really cool. So when my team at Carmindy Beauty said, we're going to launch on 11/11, I said, okay, great, but make sure you launch at exactly 11:11 a.m. so we can double up. And it's 2022. So that's it's 11. So I don't know, maybe.
Oh
maybe
my God. I love it.
I
love it.
To the universe right now. So
that's a great reason. I had to ask. It was like on my list, like, what is the significance of 11/11? Thank you for telling us. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I did interrupt you. So you are launching on 11/11. And where were we?
Okay. So where we were. So I launched Carmindy Beauty on QVC right before the pandemic and we crushed it. We had a captive audience. Everybody was watching from home, obviously. But what I noticed when I was creating products over the years is that in the labs, because I'm hands-on with everything and I develop all the shades, all the products. I was noticing that, God, they were pouring $45 lipsticks next to $9 lipsticks, and people were paying for the box. They were paying for the secondary packaging. They were paying for a logo. It was the same formula, different shade.
Mm-hmm.
So I took myself off QVC. I got a new group. We rebranded, we remarketed, we redesigned everything. And now I've got a $28 mascara that's $9.
Oh,
so you got
hallelujah.
Same formula, same epic products that I've always, created. But we went to simple packaging. We got rid of the boxes because nobody ever said, oh, I'm going to use my mascara and put it back in the box that it came in. That doesn't happen.
No.
You just throw it in the trash.
Yeah. Or recycling, hopefully.
Yeah, or recycling, hopefully. And this saves on waste. And so I was able, and I also knew with a recession coming, I wanted Carmindy Beauty to be available for all women everywhere, no matter what their budget. So everything is around $7, $9, $10.
Oh,
and it's the highest.
finally.
Yes. And my number one product that sold out everywhere, it's a cult item, is my I Got You mascara. And I developed it with women in menopause in mind because when we get older, our lids get a little heavier. They might get a little crepier, our skin on our lids, and mascara starts to smear and smudge and you look like a raccoon sometimes. Or if you use the waterproof, it's almost impossible to get off at night without a ton of makeup remover.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very harmful for the lashes. So I developed a tube technology mascara that seals on each individual lash so it never smudges or budges on your lids. Yet you don't need makeup remover to take it off. You just wash your face with warm water and it slips off like little tubes in the sink. So we sold out constantly we couldn't keep it in stock. And then since I have been rebranding, I get DMs, hundreds and hundreds of DMs every day. When is your mascara back? When is it back? I can't wait. I'm going to buy 20 of them. So 11/11, we're launching mascara, eyebrow, eyeshadows, eyeliners.
Oh, that's just so great. And at such a good price.
Yes,
finally,
exactly.
Someone is really coming out with something that's a quality product that's going to make us look amazing at a price that is realistic and fair.
Especially at this age, we know better, guys. We know better.
Yeah.
Every celebrity that comes out with a makeup line or a skincare line, they've never touched it. It's a licensing deal.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been in the lab. I have literally worked with faces for 30 years and skin tones and textures and product. You want to go for somebody who's an expert in the field. Even with your skincare, go for the dermatologist brands, go for the makeup artist brands. Designers, you have your great designers, but do it for, with people that are really creative. But just buying a celebrity name or an influencer name, you're being suckered.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agree. How will people be able to buy your product? Where are you selling it?
My parent company is scentbeauty.com, but you can type in carmindybeauty.com and it'll toggle you right to scentbeauty.com. And of course, my Instagram is at Carmindy Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok is Carmindy_beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And Facebook.
And I love your beauty tips, by the way. And we'll have links to all of those in the show notes. But
good.
I love your tips, especially when you have other women on with you and like telling your followers and your listeners a great beauty tip. That's great. What's your beauty tip today?
So my beauty tip of the day, actually, I'm going to film it right when we get off, is that what does a wine bag, a giant scrunchie, and a hat have in common?
What? I give up.
When you break your arm and you need to wash your hair, you put the wine bag on your arm with the giant scrunchie to keep it tight. And then when you get out of the shower, you can't blow dry your hair. So you stick a hat on it and you look fabulous.
Oh my gosh, you poor thing. But wow, you're going to nail it. You're going to be the first person in history with a broken arm and with great style and got it all figured out. One more question, which I really love, and I wanted to get to it. What is that one piece of makeup that if you had to go to a deserted island, what would that one piece of makeup be that you would have with you?
I got you mascara.
Oh, that 100%. Would be it? Okay.
Because I have blonde eyelashes, so you can't see my eyelashes unless I have on mascara, and I got you mascara is the be-all and all. You're going to see it explode. It's going to sell out.
Yeah.
I've already told my company, I hope you guys already have another palette being shipped because it's going to be, it'll be gone.
Yeah, I'm going to help you. I'll tell everybody about it too. Well, for sure. And for me, it's a lipstick. If I had to go off to a deserted island and stay there, it would be a lipstick for sure. My face looks so dreary without some color on my lips. It just makes my whole face pop, even if I have nothing on my eyes. But I like to always have something on my eyes as well.
What's your favorite shade of lipstick?
Kind of always like a little pinky, but like a little pinky poppy, kind of like peachy poppy pinky.
My lipsticks launch in December for holiday, so I'll send you the whole collection.
Oh, I love it. Yay! Yeah. Lipsticks is my favorite thing. That's going to be like having a big birthday party for me.
Great.
So this was incredibly fun, right? It's so nice that we have stayed in touch over all these years. I think that you should come back on. And as I told you earlier, before I hit the record button, is that we need to do a video. I think that what you should do is come back on and with all of your new stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you'll direct me and I'll do it. And we'll do like a before and after. Wouldn't that be so much fun?
Yeah. It's like the 5-minute face tutorial and we'll do it side by side. And that way everybody can learn. It's so easy.
Yes. I think that would just be so much fun. But before we close the show, you said a lot of great things about health as well as beauty. And what are your three best takeaways that you want the GRUFFtalk listeners to remember from our talk today?
Number one is your thoughts matter. So how you think about yourself and aging matters. So you need to turn that into a positive and look at the gratitude and beauty of getting older and how magic that is. Number two is whatever area of your life is suffering, whether it's sleep, hair loss, do not be afraid to talk to people, ask for help. My mom didn't go through menopause because she had a hysterectomy and my grandmother had passed, so I had nobody to talk to. So reach out. Don't be afraid to talk about it. And then the third thing is you got to get my I Got You mascara. Everyone needs it. Everyone needs it.
Yay! Oh, best of luck on launch day. Everyone, 11/11 at 11 a.m. Is that Eastern Standard Time?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Carmindy, it was so much fun and a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
I love you, Barbara. Thank you, honey.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode of GRUFFtalk, please do 2 things. First, share it with all your friends and family, and subscribe to GRUFFtalk wherever you listen to podcasts, including YouTube, so you never miss a single episode. Until next time, remember this: we can't control getting older, but we can control how we do it. Talk to you soon. Age Better Podcast is a proud member of the Sound Advice Network. Sound Advice, women's voices amplified.